Hi everybody, it's Terry. I want to explain to you how I talk to people when they start the program. So these are the clients that you ordered the food for, and they got their food in the mail, and they're calling you and they're ready to get started. So what I do is I make sure that you pull out your file folder number 1. Everything that you need to say is right on the front of the file folder, right there. And also pull out a green file folder that has all the stuff that's in the client's new book in their first box of food. So the first thing I say is that when you got your food, everything that you got in your box are all meal replacements, and all of those meal replacements have equal value. So you can have them any time of the day that you want. You don't have to have the pancakes for breakfast and the soup for lunch. You can have 5 soups a day or 5 pancakes a day. It's up to you. They all have the same nutritional footprint, except for if they are flavor infusers, the little teeny tubes. I always clarify that to make sure that they don't think that's one of the drinks. Or if they're the optional snacks, which are the soy crisps and crackers. The pizza bites are not optional snacks. The pretzels are not optional snacks. So all you need to do is pull out 5 different things for the day. Make sure you stuff your purse, your office desk, maybe put a few in the car so that you have things when you go out, because often people are gone longer than they think. And you need to eat every 2.5 to 3 hours. So when you get up in the morning, you have your first meal replacement within 30 minutes of getting up. This is the first thing on the list here on the front of the file folder system. On file folder number 1, and you just go down that. So eat every 2.5 to 3 hours. Drink at least 64 ounces of water a day, but we go by body size. If they weigh 200 pounds, it's half of your body weight in ounces, so you would drink 100 ounces of water a day, and that's above and beyond what you put in your meals. And then you need to have 5 meal replacements a day and 1 lean and green. The lean and green is what you prepare outside of your home, and this is every 2.5 to 3 hours. So it would be 5, 6, or 7 ounces of lean protein and 3 servings of vegetables. And the vegetables would be only the vegetables that are in your quick start guide. So make sure that you point that out on page 4 and 5. We don't do any of the sweet vegetables. No corn, carrots, Brussels sprouts, sweet peas, no winter squash. Okay? And then you also pay attention to the meat that you choose. And if you have 3 different categories, lean, leaner, and leanest, and depending on the category of meat that you choose, you get a different amount of fat servings. So if you choose sirloin steak for dinner, that's a 5-ounce serving, and you get no extra fats that day. If you choose tilapia, you get 2 servings of fat a day, and you use your condiment guide to give you the measurements of the fat that you can have on your salad dressings or on whatever side dishes that you're using. I usually find out what they have for breakfast for coffee and ask them what they usually put in it to make sure they're not putting any flavored creamers or anything in that. It's better to have half and half in there than some of those other things. So make sure you talk about what they have for their morning coffee. And then I also recommend that they can put the coffee in with their shakes and make it into lattes also. Then I make sure that ask them about their exercise. If they are currently working out, cut it in half. No huffing and puffing, and cut it in half for the first 3 weeks. If you do not work out, don't add anything for the first few weeks, because we want you to become a really efficient fat burning machine. So, and it takes 3 to 5 days to get into fat burning. You might feel a little draggy the first few days, maybe even a little headachy, but that will get better over time. You can always have some Powerade Zero, and that can help with the headache or help you feel a little lightheaded. It will help if you have a little bit of that. Also, make sure you check and find out what meds they're on. If they are on the diabetic meds, they're going to need to touch base with their physician and get them have them cut their meds down pretty dramatically. So it's very, very important that you do not let them start if they're on their meds and they haven't got a hold of their physician. And it doesn't mean they need a doctor's office visit. They can just call and talk to the nurse, and they'll tell them what to do. And you're going to have to ask them to check their blood sugars really frequently. If they're on blood pressure meds, the same thing. They might lower it a little and they might not. If they have a blood pressure machine at home, they can check on it the first few days or go down to Walgreens and get it checked. Also make sure that they are not drinking any beverages that aren't on the plan. There's no alcohol allowed. There's also no fruit allowed. So often you have to clarify that because people don't realize that. And no dairy. Don't even mention the almond milk or anything like that. right off the bat because it can just be too much for people initially. And then make sure that they're keeping a weight and measurements and take a photo of themselves. And I also recommend that they get a spiral notebook or a journal and record their journey on how they lost weight. It will also be very helpful for them to help track triggers and things like that that cause them to eat. And then talk to them about how we're going to want you to start working through the Quick Start Guide and the book and the workbook, but you don't have to look at it right now if you just want to get a hold of the program. And then also ask them, did you do the quiz that I gave you or that's in chapter 5 of the book, and where were your areas of weakness and what can we do to help with that? If you're really stressed out, what are some things that we can put into place now? And also have them make a list of maybe some of the things they can do around the house that only take a few minutes that can take their mind off of food when they're having a food craving. So the first few days you're going to have more cravings, and as you get into a better fat burn, you're going to feel better and better, and they're going to build more confidence. And when they get that initial weight taken off, those first few pounds drop, that's a great time to, it's a learning opportunity time that you can talk to them. I also tell them to get out their green folder that they get in their first box of food and to open it up. And this is your opportunity to show that you are the guide and that there's all these other tools that the company offers for them. So I point out this little circular thing there in the right-hand corner, right-hand corner, and show them that they're in the center of that circle. And that blue circle around that U is me, and I'm your guide to help you guide you through the process and point out other services and tools that we have. There's the book and the workbook. There's the virtual clinic. Those numbers are in the back of your Quick Start Guide. There's also the Be Slim Club. That's the discount club that makes sure that you don't run out of your food. There's the Support in Motion, which I'd love you to sign up for the first week that you're on the program, because that will go week by week as you go through the program. There's also the 5-in-1, the Quick Start Guide. I recommend that you carry that around with you, and the condiment list that you carry around with you until you get a good handle of things. So this really shows them that you are truly the guide. We also have the behavioral therapist and nutritional therapist, and you really want to start to have them utilize these tools to help them go, so that you are not the everything. Remember, we are not their counselor, we are not their doctor, we are not their everything that we have to sit and talk on the phone with them forever. We encourage, we ask questions, we ask autonomy supportive questions. If they're having problems, we ask things like, so tell me a little bit about that. Tell me what was going on that day that you were thinking about food all day. What were you doing? Is there some things that you can think about? And then, rephrasing and things like that. Don't do things like say, well, you need to do this. It's just a lot better to question them and let them help figure it out and work through it themselves. Also let them know that you're going to be checking in with them a lot the first week. I don't actually say exactly when or, how many times. I just say a lot the first few weeks and less as we go. And I'm going to ask you tomorrow exactly what you had, and that's how I can figure out a lot of the mistakes that people make. This often has to do with the fat, and also has to do with the amount of vegetables. For some reason, the clarification of the vegetables needs to be done very often on people. And then the next day or so, I call them and make sure that they're doing okay. And this is where you set up the parameters for what your role is. So if you are on the phone talking to people every day for 30 minutes, that's what they're going to expect. So I would recommend that you make it concise and be supportive of them, but make sure that you don't spend too much time on the phone, because they might be being polite, but they may not want to be talking that long. It's best just to be very efficient and get it done. Not to say that there won't be times that you'll be talking longer to them. Okay? So I hope that I've answered your questions, and just call me if you're having any other problems with that, and get your clients started on a good foot. That's the best way to go. And so you shouldn't be spending any more than like 15 minutes with that first phone call. And then the next few phone calls you make in the first 2 weeks are probably going to be 5 or 10 minutes long, max. I also send 1 email to people, 1 to 2 emails a week with basic tips on how to keep it off. And any of the things that I send you, you're welcome to send on. Just change the name and send it on to your clients. Okay? Thanks a lot and take care.